Well, Broncos country, what is up, man? We are back from Las Vegas. As you could probably tell, I got the Vegas face right now. A little bit tired, a little bit down. But the Broncos got blown out by the Buffalo Bills in the wild card playoff game. It was a very interesting, very weird, unique type of game. So we're going to break it down a little bit, but we're really going to focus this video on looking into the offseason and understanding a little bit about where the Broncos need to go and where they need to improve in what I believe is the most exciting. Although I always like the offseason, I really do. But this is the most exciting offseason in a long, long time for Denver. And it's mainly because of number 10, Mr. Bo Nix. Having a franchise quarterback is a game changer. So let's talk about what this team needs to do to build on an incredibly exciting and a very successful season nonetheless, regardless of how it ended for this team. Super proud of the team. Love the way they battled all year. I really just felt like they were so fun, a breath of fresh air for Broncos country, and then being able to talk playoff football, even if it was just for a week, is amazing. First time on the channel, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. I cover all things Broncos on this channel. I also discuss some Avalanche and some Nuggets, which we're going to heavily get into as well as we enter the offseason for the Broncos. But yeah, the Broncos went into Buffalo, guys. It started off amazing. Great drive by Denver and Bo Nix. Explosive play by Troy Franklin. And really, it was a very close game going into halftime. It was a 10-7 game at halftime. The back-breaking play, if you're looking at a specific play, was obviously that 4th and 1. That 4th and 1 completion to Ty Johnson. It's a 50-50 call that could have gone either way. I do believe the refs actually got it right. I believe that was a catch. But, man, if you prevent that from happening and they don't get it, it is a 6-point ball game at that point, and you're getting the ball back, and maybe you get some momentum. But here it is, guys. It's as simple as this. The things that have plagued the Broncos all season, being bad on third downs and really being able to just absolutely have no control of the game from a time of possession standpoint, smacked them right in the mouth on this game. And what ended up being a blowout. Like I said, I think for 30 of the 60 minutes, this game was a lot closer than – well, this game was close. It really wasn't – it never felt like it was that close after the Broncos' first touchdown. But guys, let's face it. When your team is, terrible on third downs, they absolutely got rammed down their throat on the run game. That's what I was surprised by. I did not think that they would lay over the way that they did. But 41 minutes of time of possession for the Bills to the Broncos 18. Essentially, the Broncos had the ball equivalent to just 1 out of the 4 quarters. There's not a scenario, there's not a situation in hell you're going to win that game. We could have played the New England Patriots, the Tennessee Titans, and you give up that kind of time of possession, and you're going to lose every single time. And on top of that, crazily enough, the Broncos allowed 210 rush yards, and they were 2 of 9 on third down, which is crazy because that's not even a lot of third down possessions. Whereas the Bills were 8 of 15. Listen, yes, it was an ass kicking, but the Buffalo Bills, what they did to us is they showed us exactly the type of team the Broncos need to be. A team that can absolutely run it down your throat, control the game on the ground. And that is what upgrading the running back position will allow for this team to do. Because we have a quarterback right now that I think he's got a little bit too much on his plate. There's a little bit too much being asked of him right now. And not having any semblance of a run game at all is awful. Kudos to the Bills. This is what I was saying all offseason about them, is them getting rid of Stephon Diggs and building an offense around Josh Allen and the run game first is the best thing that they could have done. And it showed up and it showed out. And I like that it happened against us in a way, because I think it's a perfect example of this is what you need to become. This is where you need to go. And the great thing about building up an offense around like that is it really doesn't take a whole bunch of pieces. We have the offensive line that we've invested heavy, resources and money into. We finally have the franchise quarterback. Now we just got to get the right guys to be able to run the football. And that is an entire revamp of this running back room. Are there guys that I like? I love Jaleel McLaughlin, right? I already talked about how much I like Blake Watson. I don't really have much of an opinion on Bidet and Estime and Javonte yet. But I'm fine with an entire revamp because they showed us exactly what we need to do in order to take our game to the next level. So kudos to them. Amazing season overall by Denver. I don't have to harp on that. But what I really did want to talk about with this game in particular is the defense was very disappointing and a lot more soft than I thought that they would be. I was surprised by that. I think that their game plan was so focused around don't let Josh Allen beat you with his legs specifically and in the air. We focused so much time and attention on that. We didn't really prepare for the fact that they were just going to come in and play smash mouth football. And so really the game plan that we had, I don't think was a bad game plan. It just never really needed to come to fruition. By the time Josh Allen in the pass game really started to open it up, the game was kind of out of reach. I think we were just kind of beat down. We just could not get off of the field. And, it was really about the third Bills possession. Even when the game, it was 10-7 at halftime, they came out, they ran the ball down our throat again, and they got the field goal. We were able to hold them. It was 13-7, but I just felt like, man, we were on the ropes right now. Unless we can get some sort of live and die by the explosives in this game, we were just going to unravel, and that's ultimately what ended up happening. So, yeah, it was overall really frustrating. But like I said, guys, so much optimism about this team. When you have your franchise quarterback and when you have continuity from the top down in an organization, this is how you build up. This was step one in terms of, getting over the hump. It was step two. Because when you look at the season in the beginning, you say, what's a successful season? Successful season, we said it's all going to be about Bo and his development. If he can show that he could be a franchise quarterback, the season is successful. Well, not only did he absolutely do that, this team found a way to make the playoffs, win 10 games, exceeded everybody's expectations. So now moving forward, that is the floor. Making the playoffs is the absolute baseline for this team. And there's a lot of good pieces to build around, but there's a lot of areas within this roster that we absolutely need to revamp and we need to get better at. And we're going to have a lot of videos about that coming. But what I wanted to touch on real quick, because I don't want to make this a super long video, is priorities of this team. And what I mean by priorities in terms of like our biggest needs, it doesn't mean that, hey, if I list a certain position as the number one priority, that's what we need to get in the draft in the first round. That's not how it works. Or in free agency. That's not how it works, because it's finding the right person, the right fit, the right player at the right value. Those are all things that are very fluid and that depend very much on position. But number one, no doubt about it, 100%, we need a bona fide stud running back or two, right? You look at the Bills yesterday, man, they got James Cook, who's really coming to his own as a very, very, very good running back. They got Ray Davis, who's a great compliment to him. They got Ty Johnson, who's a phenomenal third down back. And just like Josh Allen had said after the game, the best third down back in the league. I'm not going to sit there and say he is or isn't. I don't have so much to compare it to, but I know he's a damn good third down back. That's a hell of a room there. That's a team that knows how to take three backs and utilize them as needed. They run James Cook. They use Ray Davis in times where James Cook needs a break. And then on third down, simple enough, Ty Johnson comes in. So it's an example that you don't need a bona fide guy, but you just need to have good players, good running backs. And we don't have any of those, or at least none that have been proven. So running back is going to be the biggest need for sure for this team. Secondly, is going to be tight end / slot receiver. The reason that I say that is because if you have a really elite slot receiver, if you've got somebody that could just get you third downs all day in the slot, then your need for a receiving tight end goes down a little bit. But I'm all about getting us a tight end. We've talked about it all year. We need to have a guy that we can depend on third down. We need to be able to be like, hey, if it's second and 13 because we got minus 3 yards on first down, we need to be like, hey, we have a play with the personnel and a guy that can get us 6 to 8 yards every single time to be able to put us in a manageable situation. It is mind-blowing how often those types of plays are needed in a game, and it would be huge in terms of the overall result of the game in the offense. It really is crazy how often those 7-8 yard plays would come into play, right? Because, you're talking about 2nd and 13, you pop off 8 yards. Now you're at a 3rd and 5, an extremely manageable situation. It's really the difference between going 3 and out and making a drive continue to go. So that's really what I wanted to, I want to see there, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. On defense, and I would say just in general, this could be one of the biggest team needs. Something we haven't talked about that much, but we are in desperate need of this, is an inside linebacker. A really solid, just, beast type of an inside linebacker. Somebody that's really good in the run game, that can cover a multitude of tight ends and just can fly around the field a little bit more. I mean, really, guys, kudos to Cody Barton and especially Justin Strnad. Justin Strnad stepped in a really difficult situation, obviously after Alex Singleton. But that's just not good enough on the inside linebacker position. I like Cody Barton. I thought he was good, but he shouldn't be your best inside linebacker. He's not really that kind of guy. And then Drew Sanders, I just feel like the Broncos have kind of ruined the kid already. I mean, maybe they can fix it because he's only a 2nd-year guy going into his 3rd year and battled a lot of injuries, but way too inconsistent in terms of what's the vision for a player like him, right? Because I've always thought he was going to potentially be a really good inside linebacker, but they started using him on the edge, and then they put him back in on inside linebacker. Just very confusing there. So our linebacker position on the inside could use a lot of revamping for sure. And then another one is, I think we could still benefit from a little bit more defensive line depth, but that's not really much of a priority. That's going to be the biggest thing. Our wide receiver room could use another guy or two, specifically a bona fide number 1 or an extremely solid 2. But we're gonna take some time to kind of evaluate that. I really want to go look back on some things, and then we'll make dedicated videos for every single position here in the coming days for sure. Super excited about this offseason. But I just wanted to make it, give a special moment and shout out to the team. Yes, it sucks when it ends in whatever fashion. When it ends in blowout fashion, it sucks. When it ends, in the playoffs, it sucks. But this is different. This is very different. It feels a lot better than it has in the past, because you don't feel like you have this ginormous mountain that you have to climb to even get back to relevancy. We're a relevant team again. We're a team that is, I would say much better than half of the league and not nearly on the level as the other half of the league. Essentially is kind of what I look like it. And then there's a group of other teams that we're kind of in line with. So man, did we make a big jump. And this offseason is going to be awesome. And we're going to talk a lot about coaching staff changes, because I just believe, based off of things that I'm hearing, kind of reading through the tea leaves, I think there might be a little bit more changes on the staff that we realize. Some of them because some guys got jobs elsewhere, and others because I think Sean Payton's going to want to move on from 1 or 2 of these coaches. So we'll see. Tune in for that. I'll have some more information on that coming soon. Otherwise, guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. You guys have a wonderful day. Go Broncos as always. And it's going to be a fun offseason. And we hope that you guys can ride with us here on the channel throughout the whole journey, man. We're going to have it covered. We're going to talk about a lot of different moves to be made in free agency and in the draft. And then tune in for some wonderful Avs and Nuggets content. Appreciate you guys. Spend time with those that you love the most, man. Enjoy the season. Reflect on it. Enjoy it as much as you can. And until next time, peace out.